So today, I'm standing here on stage. You see me and you hear me. Maybe tomorrow you will remember something that I said. It all looks as if I am creating this talk. But I would not be saying these very words without you listening to me. Why would I be talking if there would be nobody receiving my words? I would not be here without the people who set up your chairs and the ones who did all the communication around so that you and I are sharing this room in this moment. It's actually their hosting that makes me talk. Even before, without the invitation of the organizers, I would have not put my thoughts together in this very focused TEDx way. And I would have not stumbled along for the last weeks with all my ideas and with my doubts, with my ideas and doubts. And without the long list of loving friends and wise guides, I would have never made it to that point. It's because they listened to all my very vague ideas and helped me sort them out. It's their patience and support that makes me stand here today. And usually, we tend to forget that. All of them, all of you and I, we are co-creating this moment. I am fascinated by the fact that so often when something new is created, you will find these two elements. Something that is holding space, that is receiving, nurturing, supporting, and something that can express itself in that space. Because most of the really great stuff we cannot do alone. I know this very well from filmmaking. Recently, I've often been the one who was publicly representing this film, Die Zukunft ist besser als ihr Ruf. The future is better than its reputation. It's a collective documentary about people who are engaged in social change. And there's a very complex co-creative process behind. We were several directors, I'm one of them, and also the producer and the editor had very important creative roles. When you watch the film, in the end, you see in the credits more than 200 names. This is twice as many people as you see in this picture. Team, protagonists, people on location, and all somehow contributed for the film to be what it is and what we can see in movie theaters. This is what I want to talk about today. How ideas come from imagination to reality, and how we are all contributing in one way or another to really give them shape, give them form, to make them real. But first, let's start at the very beginning. Let's zoom in for a moment into the mystical process of manifestation. It all starts with an idea. But where is this idea coming from? I want to use a metaphor of one of my teachers, Thomas Hübl. Let's imagine now that in this room, there is something like a white cloud, and it's hanging in mid-air, right above you. This cloud is full of potential ideas for the future. But it's only when one of us very personally connects to one of these ideas that a special bond is being formed. When I contemplate this in my own experience, it's a mixture of kind of reaching out and being open to receive. In these moments, it's as if I am becoming that bowl for the idea to land. It's a very intimate moment, and sometimes we're just flirting, you know? There are a lot of ideas around, and we go around, oh, this would be cool, and this would be cool. But then comes the moment when you really fall in love. And then you know, okay, that's it. I want to see that in the world. I'm ready to commit. Something changes. You're ready also to take a risk, to invest your time, energy, maybe even money, without knowing if ever something will come out of it. And that's a very important moment. Peter König, who is doing a lot of work with founders of companies, he calls that you're becoming the source of the project. And you will always have something like a more direct connection, a special bond with the potential future of this project. And when you step into a project after that first person, it's very wise to honor that. I want to give you an example. I once worked with Nicole Scherg, a very dear colleague of mine. She's also a filmmaker. And she was writing a concept of her new film. Das Leben ist keine Generalprobe. Life isn't a rehearsal. It's a film about one of the last shoemaking factories in Austria and its rebellious owner, Heini Staudinger. So I joined her in working on the concept. The concept was great, we got the funding, and I even learned to be a sound operator to be able to be with her in the shooting of the film as well. First, it was great. We had all these conversations. I could also contribute a lot with my own background, what I know about alternative economy. But there was a moment when we somehow got stuck. Somehow, she could not feel her own connection to the film anymore that clearly. And we realized that I had to step back a bit. She needed to feel the void of not knowing long enough for her own truth to arise. It was very hard in the beginning for me not to jump in with suggestions anymore. Sometimes I was there holding space for her clarification, and it felt like inner yoga. I had something I wanted to say, but I was not saying it in special moments so that she could have this space. And I realized in this moment that I often thought co-creation means we are all doing something. But in these moments, the best I could do for the success of the whole project was be there for her. And this is also when I decided to look in much more detail in this, what is the power of these supportive qualities when we are co-creating. So, of course, there are a lot of different ways of how we collaborate. But I want to highlight for you 3 archetypes of these supportive qualities that you may have come across in your own life as well. The first one is the muse. The second, the midwife. And the gardeners. So let's start with the muse. I think we all know how helpful it is when you can talk about a fresh idea. And often there is something like a searching in these very early conversations. It's simply a pleasure to be with someone who is there, able to receive all this unfiltered information, who can ask wise questions, maybe even challenge you by being critical in the right dose. But then also in some moments, you know that, when they're also getting excited themselves, and then you see them, they're sitting in front of you, and on their face you see simply like, yes, tell me more about it. Yes, I want it. So this is somehow how the energy is flowing even more. It is as if the talking is a fountain of water, and the bowl is the listening. Without this bowl, the flow would simply ebb out. The listening, the quality of the listening is often co-creating what can be put into words. It sounds very simple, but it can be crucial for how an idea takes on form. A good muse will pick the pearls out of your random thoughts and hand them back to you as a brilliant necklace. So, when an idea is landing and then slowly sinking in deeper, it often hits our deepest fears. Do you know that part? I do. And in these moments, we need a midwife. Because the midwife, they already see that there is something growing inside of us in its own pace. It will want to come out. They know that it will probably turn us inside out. And they already know that there might be a moment when you go and you say, okay, stop it. Now I just leave it all together. I'm not doing this. In these moments, they are standing behind you, reminding you to simply breathe, to collect your forces, and then try again. They will celebrate you the moment it comes out. But it's the midwives who often help us to keep going in very crucial moments. And there is another beautiful quality. Maybe, did you ever try to grow your own tomatoes? Until we can eat them, it takes quite a lot of care and attention, watering, looking after it on a very daily basis. And without the help of gardeners, a lot of good ideas would never be able to really flourish. I like the gardeners also because, gardeners are very good at discerning what they want to support and what they want to leave aside. I feel very honored when someone who has this gardening quality wants to join me in a project, also resonates with my little plant. I know that in this part I'm very bad when I'm doing it alone, but together it's much more fun. It's actually the nurturing of the gardeners. It's all this loving care that lets a good idea grow strong roots in the world, grow tall and big, so that we also have fruits that will nurture us and can nurture others, and maybe also seeds, so that it can spread even further. Why am I telling you all of this? It's because I believe that this is how we can help the future to land. There's a lot of work to do right now, and we can do it together. In Latin, there is a small syllable called a prefix, one word that sums it all up. Co. It literally means together or with. And this is also very visible in our daily language. So much that we love and that we are involved in has this Latin co included. Companies, cooperatives, communication, connection. You can choose your own favorite co-word. I like very much the word consciousness. It literally means knowing together. And I believe that we need a lot of awareness and consciousness around these processes of co-creation and really honor all who contribute as muses, as midwives, as gardeners. And if we are all more consciously aware of the power that often stands behind the ones who are in the spotlight, all of us will shine more. So these are the people who were standing behind me. And a little bit of their energy and wisdom was also flowing through that talk. Let's honor all who contributed for us being here together. And don't forget, your listening is co-creating all that talking on stage. Thank you.